What's going on, Illumineers, and welcome back to the madness. We have the 24 October card reveals, and there's some really good ones. Also, I gave a lot of ones in this one, so let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know why, what combo pieces I'm missing, so on and so forth. Also, before we start, remember we have that giveaway going on, the Trove from Safari Zone, the Stitch Collector set from my own pocket, the playmats from my own pocket. Check out the video. It's going to be in the description. I'll try and do like a little thing somewhere on the screen that you can click on. Get in that giveaway. It's completely free for you guys. But let's get into it because there's a lot of cards. All right. So, first up, we have Michael Darling. He's a one cost inkable, a 2/2/1. He is a pirate. Now, what I like about Michael Darling is he's getting into that good stat, like that in my opinion, the good stat line you like to see because he can challenge into things. He can challenge into Daisy twice and live to tell, well, once and live and then hit him again. Um, I don't know if they need one cost pirates off the top of my head, but I think Michael Darling's just a good one drop that you can put into your pirate decks or maybe even another red deck and play him. I'm gonna give him a 3. All right, I think he's a good 3. So moving on, we have Sail the Azurite Sea. It's a 2-drop inkable action. This turn, you put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down, draw a card. This one's really interesting. I've seen a lot of people making fun of Magic the Gathering because this is, well, maybe Ravensburger, because there's a green card in Magic the Gathering that's very similar to this, or like the exact same, I think. I don't know. I don't play Magic, but this card, it's really neat. I'm very interested to see if they actually play it in red blue because one of the huge advantages of Tipo is that Tipo kind of allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with your mulligan because if you get a lot of high cost on inkables, then you can just use Tipo to use that as ink. Whereas Sail the Azurite Sea, it would replace Tipo in a deck, but is it worth it? Because if you end up drawing into a whole bunch of high on inkables in red blue, now you can't get rid of it. Sure, you can ink it down with a card, but this doesn't let you ignore the fact that it has to be inkable. So you might just empty your hand of all your inkables, and then you draw another uninkable. So I don't see it being played in red blue. I really don't. I don't think this is a card that they want to see. I think Tipo is just much, much, much better for them because it can also sing one jump ahead, I believe. But I do see it being good in Blurple. I do see it being good in Blue Steel. So I think it's going to see some play there for sure. That ability to just replace itself gets you that extra ink. I could see it replacing Mickey. Um, because your 2-drop in Blue Steel, it's going to be a little more interesting because you kind of want that tempo. But I could see the opportunity because then maybe you play. I could see the opportunity either way because then you could play Fishbone. You play this, then you play Fishbone, and look how much ink you have at that point. 5 ink, I think, going into 6 ink on turn 4. Like that's pretty insane. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Of course, a lot of opportunity in Blurple. I think you just cut Mickey at this point with Blurple. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. It might be a 4. It's either gonna be a high 3 or a low 4. The fact that it replaces itself, the fact that it's on 2, and there's not many other things you're looking to do on 2, especially in Blurple, I think that a 4 could be merited, but we'll stick to 3. It's definitely going to see play. Next up, we have Mr. Litwak. Litwak. I have to rewatch the movie, but 3 cost inkable amber card is a 2/3/1. The gang's all here. Once during your turn, whenever you play another character, you may ready this character. He can't quest or challenge for the rest of this turn. The first thing I thought when I saw this card was this is a card that can sing twice in the same turn, and that's pretty cool, right? Because you can sing, and then so you'd have to do it on turn 4, right? So you play him on turn 3, and then turn 4, you use him to sing a song. You play a character, maybe an aerial, and then you use him to sing another song because he readies himself. So that's pretty neat, niche, but neat. Because how often early on are you casting 2 songs that early? Like, what's your hand look like to be able to do that? It's cool, but it's not. great. It's not something that we're putting in Steel Song. It's a zero include for me. In aggro, he quests for two, sure, but you already have a lot of stuff in your three drop that's already questing for two. I think well, speaking of two, I think he's a two. I don't see him being played. But maybe somewhere along the line, I think. Hmm. I think he's. We'll go two. He might be a one. He's a low two for sure. I just don't see a world where he's going to be played very much. The ability to activate himself though is he's a one. Mr. Litwak, I'm sorry. You're our first one of the video. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but you're a one. All right. Moving on. We have Longboat, a two cost uninkable a ruby card from Treasure of the Planet. Really great movie. Take it for a spin. This is when the best song of the whole movie gets played. It's like the most sentimental part. So really excited to see this card, except for its effect is pay to ink. Chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. This is a one for me. It's just so slow. It's so slow. You play this on two. Excuse me. You play this on two. You can't use it till turn three. But on turn two, there's so many other things you want to be doing in any deck that's going to run this. I can't imagine Red Blue Items ever wants to run it. Like, sure, they could run this and then maybe play a Maui, and Maui now has evasive. But no, I think this is a one. I don't think it ever sees play. Very sad because this is one of the most iconic parts of the movie, in my opinion, when we first see the Longboat. But yeah, we're going with a one for Longboat. Moving on, speaking of Treasure Planet, we have Jim Hawkins. All right, he's a two cost inkable. He is a 0/4/1. I do not speak that language. And so I'm going to pull it up here. And come here, come here, come here. During your turn, whenever this card is put into your inkwell, this character gets Challenger to this turn. This is really, really big for two decks right off the top of my head. That being Blue Steel and that being Purple Steel. Purple Steel already has things like Smee, which is really good, questing for two, being able to challenge the board. But what Jim Hawkins does is he lets you continue to challenge the board. In Purple Steel, the most he's going to be is a 2/4, but that 2 is just it's just really big. It's really good. It lets you challenge stuff, and he has a big butt, so he can actively just start questing for one, and then meanwhile dealing two damage to things. Meanwhile, in Blue Steel, Jim Hawkins is a walking 4/4 because you're going to Quill, you're going to Azurite Sea, you're going to Mickey Mouse, whatever it may be. So he's a 4/4 in Blue Steel almost always when he's challenging. And then he's just questing for one. He's a 0/4 that's hard to handle. He answers Daisy Duck. I would argue that one of Blue Steel's, if not their hardest matchup, is Steel Song right now. And Jim Hawkins erases that, right? Like, because you play him on the play, they have to have Ursula and Zeus, and that's not an easy feat either. So this is just mass. Like, this is really, really, really big for those two decks. Looking at the other steel, I don't see any other steel decks where this gets played really. So it's not going to be played in Amber Steel. We don't care about the 2/4. Yeah, so I'm gonna give him a four though, because of the impact that he has and the potential for purple steel and the potential for blue steel. I'm gonna go with a four. I think he's a really, really important card. Like he might be a five. Jim Hawkins might be a five, but oh, we're going with a five. We're giving Jim Hawkins a five, and here's why. I haven't revealed it yet because it came before I started doing these reveals. But the shift three Jim Hawkins. Okay, it is a oh man, I don't have it pulled up, but the shift three Jim Hawkins is a cent. I believe it's a 5/5/2. Bear with me. Bear with me. Don't leave yet. Don't leave, guys. We'll kind of just talk about it right now, and we'll talk about it again when we reveal it. Maybe we won't. Okay, so there was a Jim Hawkins, a shift Jim Hawkins. Maybe it's from an older set actually, but there is a shift shift 3 Jim Hawkins that allows you to deal 1 damage for something, but it's it's really important to bring it up because what now happens is in purple steel you can shift Jim Hawkins, and then now you can sing Zeus on turn 3, which is huge to gain tempo back. In blue steel you could shift Jim Hawkins and then you have a singer on turn 3, so maybe you don't have a Quill, you don't have a Hiram, so you need to shift and sing Whole New World. So now you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to play a Whole New World, and that's on turn 3 to just change your entire hand. So, and it honestly, it even gives some sort of ability to maybe there's a world where it can see play in Amber Steel. I'm gonna play with it now specifically because of the shift target. Off the top of my head, maybe not. I'll have to look to see if it's a 5/5/2 or not. That's probably a little too overpowered, but I'm definitely gonna give it a check. So Jim, this 2 cost uninkable common card is going to be my first 5 for this video. I think there's a lot of it. Yep, there we go. So Jim Hawkins is a 5/5/2 uninkable. So might be a little hard to put him in Steel Song, but that's gonna be. I'm excited. 5. There you go. Jim Hawkins is a 5 for me. All right. I'm excited for this card. Moving on. Okay. Cobra Bubbles. He's a 5 cost steel card, inkable, 3/4 bodyguard. Think about what's best. Pay 2 ink, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. And he quests for 2. He's a 3/4/2. I'm sorry, Cobra. Your first Cobra Bubbles was a 1, and unfortunately, this Cobra Bubbles is also a 1. Being the character that you are, you deserve so much better, man. And Ravensburger is just not letting you have it. I'm sorry. Another 1. And I think that's 2 ones for us so far. Maybe 3. We're not that far into today's reveal. Moving on, though, we have 2 cost inkable. We have Maleficent Staff. It is a amethyst item. Back Fools. Whenever one of your opponent's characters, items, or locations is returned to their hand from play, gain 1 lore. I'm super excited for this card. I don't I've never played green purple, but this card makes me want to play green purple. And the card on its own isn't super broken, right? But it's essentially burn. It's like playing a flute. And when I was playing Steel Song, and I was a huge flute lover, but what this card does with green is green is already bouncing a bunch of stuff. You have your kit cloud kickers. Maybe you bounce a kit to bounce another of their card. You have the muses. So maybe now you can go, maybe there's some songs you can play with muses. And there's just all these opportunities to just start bouncing all of your opponent's cards. And then you gain a lore every time you do it. So I think this card is really neat. And I think this card is really it's going to be fun to try out. And then it's also just good into purple because now they're going to feel bad for bouncing their rabbits or bouncing their goats, whatever it may be. So I'm excited for this card. I'm going to give it a 3. It might be a 4. I'm going to give it a 3. It doesn't really help your red blue matchup because they already have item removal because red blue is just dumb and broken, but um, I'm gonna give it a 3. I really like it. I think it's really neat, but the harder, it doesn't improve the matchup really that you're already doing okay into. But yeah, we'll go with a 3. I like Maleficent Staff. I think it's pretty neat. Next up on the list, we have a 3 cost inkable Alistar Cray. He's a 2/4 inventor. An eye for tech. When you play this character, if an opponent has an item in play, gain 1 lore. Oh man, I'm sorry, Alistair Alistar. Like I'm pretty sure this card is from Atlantis, right? I just don't. What is this character? I don't know. Is he the main character and this is Storyborn, so he's like um older now? Let me know in the comments below how silly I am. But Unfortunately, he's a one. I can't find a world where any green deck is caring about playing this on turn three. Um, Whenever you play it, yeah, there's just not a world where this is played. I don't see a world where this is played. Sure, if you're playing into blue, they're gonna have an item, so you gain one lore, but you're already running other really good three drops. So again, is it worth it? Um, I personally don't think so. So I'm gonna go with a one. So, but it is burn, so maybe it has an opportunity. Maybe it's hmm, the burn ability to gain. No, we're going with a one. We're going with one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. You're a one. Moving on, we have another non-English card, maybe French. I think maybe so, but we have a two-cost uninkable. It is Winnie the Pooh, the Honey Pirate Lookout. He is a 2/2/1. He has support, and then we are pirates. You see. Whenever this character quests, the next pirate character you play this turn costs 1 ink less. This is kind of cool. I like ramp effects. I like, Gastons, I like Docks, I like Plutos, and this is essentially an upgraded Pluto where now you play it and you give a character support, which has to be respected very much so, and then you also get to pay one less for a pirate next turn. So we already are seeing Amber Pirates, Ruby Pirates, so maybe there's an Amber Ruby deck, pirate deck in the works. So I think this card will 100% see play. It's going to be a three for me. It gives you tempo. It gives you ramp. Yeah. So I think it's just really good. He himself is only a 2/2/1, but on turn one, if you play, the 2/2 pirate that we talked about in the very first clip of this, all of a sudden you have a 4/2 pirate and you can answer Daisy Duck. So I think, yeah, Winnie the Pooh is a three for me. I think he is a hard include in a pirate deck. Next up, we have Kakamura. Kakamura is a two-cost inkable, 1/3/1. He is a pirate and dizzying speed. When you play this character, chosen pirate gains evasive until the start of your next turn. Kakamura, I'm sorry, you are a one in my book. Yeah, we don't have any like the only time that this is going to be really good in my well, he answers Diablo, right? In a pirate deck, if you play Winnie the Pooh, if you play the Peter Pan character that we revealed today, all of a sudden you can answer a Diablo. So maybe it's not a one. Maybe it's a two. It's inkable, which is good, but how much do you care that it's evasive? Is it really just to answer Diablo? Is that the only thing you're concerned about? Probably. Are you going to have other answers to Diablo is the question. And is there other things you're wanting to do? So, for example, if you play this, you're not playing Piglet, right? You're not playing, but this would most likely be a turn three play unless you're on the draw and then they play Diablo on the play. So we'll give him a two as well. We're not gonna give him a one. We'll give him a two because if green is still popular, which it probably will be because discard is discard, and so it answers Diablo, which could be really good. And yeah, we'll give him a two. We'll give Kakamura a two. Good job, man. We have Hey Hey. All right, the not so tricky chicken. He is a two-cost inkable. He's a 2/2/1. Eat anything. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing item. It can't ready at the start of its next turn and out to lunch. During your turn, this character gains evasive. This one is interesting. If we look at Blue Steel, we're running Magic Broom right now to answer Diablo. So this card answers Diablo and lets you exert an item. That's cool. It's blue. If you run blue green, this gives you an answer to Diablo because you can't run Magic Broom. So I guess the only deck that would ever run this would be blue green because blue steel we Magic Broom already does this and lives, and it's this effect is just next to useless as far as exerting an item. And like sure you could play it and exert their fishbone and then they don't get to ink, but is that big of a deal? we'll give him a two as well. It's hard to give a one to something that answers Diablo. So it dies to let the storm rage on though, which is rough. Um, yeah, we'll give him a two just because he has potential to be played in blue green. And blue green does suffer with finding an answer for Diablo. So we'll give him a two because of Cal Fossa, that blue green deck, which most don't run Mufasa anymore, anyways. So moving on from Hey Hey, our 2/2/2, we have another Kakamura. This one is a one cost, uninkable, steel 0/2/1. A little help. A little help. When you play this character, if you have another pirate character in play, you may deal one damage to chosen character or location. I really like to see the theme stuff really starting to work together. Like if you have the pirate in play, you deal one damage, and I think that's really impactful. We need to see more of the theme cards working together in that way to really push people to making theme decks. And but with that being said, Kakamura, in my opinion, is a one. He's a one. I don't imagine a world where you're playing a 0/2/1 when you can do so many other things. If you're playing Purple Steel, you're playing cantrips. If you're playing Purple Steel, yeah, if you're playing Purple Steel, you're playing cantrips. The new Diablo, for example, that is a 0/1 quest for one, but you get to draw a card. You're not. So this is a one cost that doesn't come down until turn two, really. And there's so many other things you're looking to do on turn two. And a lot of the time, the deal one damage is not very impactful into many things. Sure, you could do it into a Robin Hood and then Zeus the Robin Hood if you have something that could play Zeus, but no, it's a one for me. I'm sorry, little buddy. You're a essentially a two cost, deal one damage, best case scenario. That's pretty rough for me. Moving on, though, we have Flotilla. Our first location is a two cost uninkable. Pay two to move it here. It has six willpower. Tiny Thieves. At the start of your turn, if you have a character here, all opponents lose one lore, and you gain lore equal to the lore lost this way. This is kind of neat because we keep seeing more and more of these multiplayer cards, and this just gets really, really good into multiplayer. Like it has a lot of potential impact. And so multiplayer, it would rate higher. If I gave it two ratings, like we'd probably, rate it a little bit higher. But looking at, we'll call it standard, I guess. Regular play in Lorcana. Um, all if you have a character here, all opponents lose one lore, and you gain lore equal to the lore lost this way. Sure, it's a castle potentially if you get it down on two, but the problem is you get it down on two, and then you can't move anything until turn three. Eh, do no. Like this is location. It's just sure they lose a lore, so it's gonna be good into hyper aggro maybe. Like this could really add up if you're playing into hyper aggro. So maybe it has potential there. If your local meta is really really heavy into aggro, but it's useless into blue. Maybe it's a way for the aggro pirate decks to get some reach, right? They play this, they can start moving characters. Um, but yeah, we'll give it a two, and the only reason I'm giving it a two is because there's so much location cards that are coming out this set, came out last set. We have the Speedway, the Moana we're about to showcase here in a little bit. So it has potential there. So we'll give it a two because it's a location, and locations have a funny way of showing up. Next up on it, speak of the devil, we have Moana. Okay, she is the Kakamura leader, our Floodborn Moana. She's a 7 cost inkable, a 6/5/1. She is a Floodborn hero, princess, pirate, captain, shift 5, gathering forces. When you play this character, you may move any number of your characters to the same location for free. Gain one lore for each character you moved. This is neat. The thing is that you have to have characters down for this to be impactful. But if you're playing a pirate deck, then most likely you have a bunch of characters down. So maybe that's an opportunity. Um, God, maybe you play Jim Hawkins on turn 4 and you have Jim Hawkins and a location, and then you play this and you move your other baby characters into that location, you gain some lore, and maybe it's into Flotilla, so they lose some lore. Like there's a lot of goofy combo plays you can do with this, and I'm on board. I'm on board for it. I think the artwork is really cool. I could see this being an Enchanted because she's a key character in a movie when we're about to see Moana 2 come out. All of her tags, right? Floodborn, hero, princess, pirate, captain, that goes into so many different things. Um, so yeah, maybe I think this has some opportunity. It gives some reach to the pirate deck. So I'm going to give it a 3. I'd go higher, but the fact that it requires a bunch of characters on the board to be good. Um, Now, I I believe this character also moves to a location for free. When you play this character, you may move any number of your characters, so it goes into the bag together, I believe. Let me know if I'm wrong. So at least you play this and you gain 1 lore. And that's pretty impactful, even if you have nothing else on board. So I could see this being put into a deck without knowing what other Moanas we have, and that would be the big thing that I'd have to look at is what Moana shift lines are there and are they any good or are they just garbage? I believe there's a set 1 Moana, but we won't we'll move on. But I think we'll go with a 3 for now because she'll see play. I don't think she'll ever be a 4 of. She's too expensive, but she'll definitely see play in my opinion. So we'll go with a 3. Our next up, we have our first legendary that we've revealed, I think, and it is a 6 cost inkable Maui half shark, 7 attack, 5 willpower, and a 1 evasive. He has Chihu. Whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand, and wayfinding. Whenever you play an action, gain 1 lore. First off, I'd imagine this is the artwork is going to be the same way of set 5, so this is going to kind of be like off the page a little bit. And this art, like this is going to look so good. I can't wait to pull this. The foil is going to look magnificent, and I could see this being an enchanted as well. Well, maybe not because they already have the Maui Enchanted, but we'll see. Either way, it's going to look really good, even if it's just foil or regular. But let's talk about the actual card. What do we think? A lot of people are freaking out about this card, and this one I already saw it because everybody's freaking out about it. It's not a 5, in my opinion. Sure, what it does is great. If the opponent can't answer it, there's so much ability. In red purple, you bring back Finders Keepers, um, you bring back Friends on the Other Side, you bring back Brawl, you bring back B Prep. In blue red, you bring back Visions, you bring like the one jump ahead. Like in red decks, there's so much. And maybe this gives more win to the Robin Hood red decks as well. Man, if only there was a deck that played a lot of actions that would like to bring back actions from their discard. Steel Song, but no, let's feed red blue more. But biases aside, I don't think Maui's a 5. I really don't. He's going to be good. He's going to be impactful, but I'd say he's a 4. I just don't see a world you where you would run this over Maui because of what Maui offers you. But Maui's only a 5 cost. But then do you replace Medusas to play this? And I don't think you replace the ladies to play this. And in red blue, what are you giving up to play this? Um, I just don't see you ever running 4 of them in anything. So we're gonna we're gonna give it a 4. Um, because its effect is just so good. Its effect is so good. To be able to bring back impactful cards from your discard is so impactful. I mean, you play this, if Steel Song can't answer it, now you have the opportunity to get back something that we used a whole new world on. And that's really impactful. And this goes really well with the Robin Hood deck. So we'll go with a 4. Um, yeah, we'll go with a 4 just because on turn, he's not doing a whole lot. And it's hard for me to, yeah, we'll go with a 4. There we go. Final answer. Maui's a 4 for me. We'll see if I'm wrong. All right. I most likely am. I always am. But next up, we have another non-English card, and this one is Pete. He's a swashbuckler. All right. He's a 3-cost inkable, a 5/2/1, just vanilla card, and he is a pirate and um, a villain and a pirate. So, with that being said, I think he's a 2. I don't know what the 3 cost looks like right now for pirate decks. The fact that he has 5 attack can be really impactful and really strong. That allows him to attack into almost anything and kill it. He quests for 1 pretty safely without being taken out by anything other than a character. And if anything takes it out, they're dying along with him. So we'll go with a 3. He's a vanilla character, but he has the pirate line, and he's a 5/2, so he's just a little bit harder to trade with, knowing that you're going to lose your character. So we'll go with a 3, not knowing what the pirate lines look like right now. So there you go, Pete. You're 3, man. And then we have Seeking the Half Crown. It is a 5-cost uninkable. It is an action amethyst. For each sorcerer card you have in play, you may pay 1 less to play this action. Draw 2 cards. So anytime card games get into the realm of discounted cards where you can do things for free, it gets dangerous. Look at Steel Song. Doing those things for essentially free can be dangerous, but this is even more free in the sense that if you just have sorcerers down, you could play this with nothing. Literally nothing. Now, how likely is that? Very unlikely. But we're getting into that realm of cards that can be potentially free, and that is dangerous. Okay, that's a very dangerous realm because you can do really broken things when you get there. That's how the combos start and things like that. But with that, draw 2 cards is really impactful. Maybe you play the Rafiki on 1, and then he's a sorcerer. Whatever sorcerers are on 2, and then you can play this on turn 3 to draw 2 cards. But the thing is, with with all the cantrips that purple has, is it ever playing Rafiki? Probably not. So unfortunately, I think I have to give it a 2 because the potential to play draw 2 cards for nothing is there, and doing stuff for nothing is very broken. And so we have to give it a 2, but I can't give it more than that because I don't know what sorcerers there are that are going to be super impactful. So we're going with we're going with a 2 for Seeking the Half Crown. Really cool artwork though. This is going to be a really neat foil in my opinion. Next up, we have Card Soldier's Spear, and this is a 1-cost item. Ruby, a suitable weapon. Your damage characters get +1 attack. This is really cool. Well, not cool. The only way I ever see this seeing play, maybe you run it in Gaston decks because you're already running damaged characters. Maybe you run it in the red-blue item deck because it's a 1-cost inkable item. And that's really the only actual play time I see it being played. I don't see it anywhere else. I don't see it an option anywhere else. And for that reason, I'll go with a 2. I want to give it a 1, but what it could do for red blue being an inkable, being a 1-cost item, I can't give it less than a 2 because it has potential there. Because I'm pretty sure the red blue items are playing items they would rather not play anyways. So we'll go with a 2 for Card Soldier's Spear as well. More support for red blue. It's okay. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Moving on, we have Pleakley. I believe this is the last one. He is a 3-cost inkable, 3/4/1, and he is, when you play this character, put chosen character of yours into your inkwell face down and exerted. On its own, no, but what it can do potentially, especially I'm looking at you, Blue Steel, playing the wheel, is you play Tippo on 1, so you lose a card now, but then on turn 3, you play this, and when you play this, you can ink the Tippo. So now you get to ink twice on turn 2. You get to ink twice on turn 3 because maybe you didn't see maybe you didn't see a Mickey Mouse if you were playing that, or maybe you didn't see the Fishbone Quill if you saw that. So now going into turn 4, you're going into 6 ink. So it's a lot like Azurite Sea in that sense, where it's opening you up to playing those high cost cards really, really early. So more ramp. Yay. I think this is a pretty neat card. I think it's very niche into how often you might get to use it. But I think what it can do, the fact that it's inkable, we're never afraid of that. I think it in the blue steel wheel decks, I think it replaces Mickey Mouse if they even run Mickey Mouse. I think there's often an argument of Mickey Mouse versus Tippo. Oh, I don't know. Uh, because then they typically just play Fishbone and then one or the other. Um, how do we rate Pleakley? He doesn't. I don't see him getting play, and I mean, yeah, I don't know if he ever sees play into blue red. They do play Tippo, so you could hit the Tippo, and it's an inkable ramp card, and then you also have a 3/4 on the field, which can be really impactful. That can be a lot of tempo on your part. Um, so we'll give him a 3. We'll give him a 3, and that might be super, super, super generous. But coming down on 3, inking you cards, and being a 3/4, that it's just not awful, right? It's not awful. We're not too upset to see that. Um, Maybe you see play in Blurple if you're running Tippo there as well. Uh, it'd be cool if it banished. No, you don't want it to banish the character. Um, that would be silly. But yeah, so we'll give it a 3 because it has potential. I that just a 3/4 body and an ink is pretty good in my opinion. So, card of the day, our card of the day. This was my original card of the day, Maleficent Staff, because of its toolbox opportunities. But after consideration and thinking about it while we were talking, Jim Hawkins is my card of the day. I think just the realization of how good he can be with that shift 3. I think that this card is just so awesome, and it's from such a great movie. So he is my only 5 of the day. He's also my card of the day. Really excited about this Jim Hawkins and what he can possibly do for the game. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot to me. But if also don't forget to check out the giveaway. It's going to be in the description. And as always, everyone, stay happy and healthy. Until next time.